This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. Part A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with information you hear. Now look at the notes for extract 1. Extract 1, questions 1 to 12. You hear a cardiologist talking to a patient called Rosie Clarkson, who's been referred from the hospital's emergency department. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Right, so, Rosie, the emergency doctor sent me your details, but perhaps you could just tell me in your own words what's brought you here today.
Sure. Well, about 6 weeks ago in July, I noticed I was getting a sort of a dull ache around my shoulder blades. I do a lot of desk work, and I just thought it was because I was, spending too long in that one position. I didn't really think anything of it. But then we went out for the day last Sunday to a place by the sea. We often go there, but this time, when we walked up the hill to the lighthouse, the ache got worse and I came out in a cold sweat. I mean, I've never had that before, and it was strange. It seemed just to affect my hands and the soles of my feet. I also felt this really bad nausea. I've never had that before either. Anyway, my husband noticed that I was panting and puffing, which is unusual for me. Then both arms started to get this sort of tingling feeling. So anyway, I was a bit worried about this. I wondered if I'd got a bug or something, because I'm normally very fit.
Right.
So on Monday, I went along to my GP. He had a look at me and he found that the areas where I was feeling the ache were a bit sore, so he thought it was probably some sort of musculoskeletal thing. But by this time, I was also feeling it in my chest. So he said just to be on the safe side, he needed to do an ECG. He did that straight away, and something wasn't quite right. So he said I needed to go to the emergency department. That's when I started to get a bit scared, really. Anyway, they did lots of tests, blood tests, a chest x-ray, blood pressure, and apparently everything was normal. But then they said I needed to have something called a stress test. I didn't even get to finish that one before the pain in my chest came on again, but this time even worse than before. They said that suggested something wasn't quite right, and there might be something wrong with my heart, that I needed to see someone about it straight away, so they sent me on to you.
Good. Well, I can understand this has all come as something of a shock to you, but I'm sure we can sort something out for you. How's your general health? You look pretty fit.
Yes, I get lots of exercise, horse riding every week and boogie boarding in the surf with my daughter. I don't smoke, and I check my BMI at the gym. That's 25, so fine. So's my cholesterol. I've never had problems there.
Any history of heart disease in the family?
None.
Excellent. And your family situation?
I'm married with just the one daughter, who's 18 now. She's off to university this year. I love my job. I'm a reporter. It can sometimes be quite stressful, though. I've covered some pretty tragic events over the years. But I've always thought of myself as quite resilient. But actually, well, even before this latest problem, my self-confidence did take a bit of a knock because I had to have a mastectomy 4 years ago. It came as a bit of a shock. I just had a routine check, so I suppose I was lucky it was spotted in time, but it really knocked me for six, especially the chemotherapy afterwards. It took me a long time to get over it, not so much physically. It was more that it was lurking at the back of my mind all the time. I just about got over it, and then this happened.
Well, Rosie, I'm sorry to hear that. But it's quite possible that this is nothing to worry about. However, what I'd like to do is start by taking some...
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear an osteopath talking to a patient called Joe Parr. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Now, Mr. Parr, I can see from your GP's notes that you've been experiencing some unusual symptoms recently.
Well, yes, that's right. You see, it's come on gradually over the last few months. The pain, that is. It began in my hips and it slowly got worse. It soon spread to my lower back, mostly on the right side. I thought I'd just been working too hard and a good rest would sort things out, but I actually find it the opposite. It's much worse after I've slept, and it actually feels better following a bit of exercise, which is hard to understand.
And is the pain still there in your back?
Yeah, but not only there, it's now pretty widespread. Makes me rather moody, to be honest, which isn't like me, because it's now on both sides and it's gradually gone into lots of different areas, like my shoulders.
Okay.
What's most annoying is it now hurts to walk sometimes, because it's even in my heels now, at the back of them, here. It's really quite tender.
I see. That must make things difficult. And have you noticed any other symptoms apart from the pain, I mean?
Well, I'm tired an awful lot of the time, and something strange I have noticed just recently is my eyes. I've noticed they feel pretty sore for some reason, and they're watery, too. And sometimes I can't really see properly. Things look quite blurred. I've lost my appetite, too. I just don't feel like eating half the time, and I used to be a really good eater.
And looking at your GP's notes from your last appointment, I see that she sent you for some blood tests?
That's right, and she told me the first one showed I had mild anemia.
Okay.
That could be why I've felt so tired these last few months, I guess. She said that the following test showed some inflammation, too, which she said was in the bowel. I think that might explain the loss of appetite.
And have you found anything that helps with the pain?
Nothing makes it go away for any length of time, to be honest. Though I do find that heat often soothes it, heated pads and warm showers. But the pain always returns soon afterwards. Something which does seem to help a little is yoga. A friend of mine teaches it, so she showed me a few exercises to do. I mean, it doesn't get rid of the pain, but it seems to ease it. She suggested acupuncture too, which I tried, but I gave up after a few dozen sessions. It just wasn't making any difference at all. That was disappointing because it was quite expensive, actually. The same friend's just lent me her TENS machine, so I've started using that. It's a funny sensation, the pads on my skin. And I'm not sure if it really helps or not, but I'll stick with it for the moment.
I see. And what about your family? Does anyone else have the same sort of problem?
Not that I know of. I mean, I'm an only child, and my dad died about 6 months ago. He had advanced lung cancer. My mum's pretty well overall. She even helps out sometimes with my work admin, which I really appreciate. I'm a plumber. I work for myself, and she knows how difficult it's been recently with this pain. It's affecting me quite a bit, to be honest. I mean, I still try to see my friends every weekend, We used to go 10-pin bowling, and I enjoyed that, but I don't go anymore. I can't seem to concentrate very well these days when I'm doing anything like that.
Well, it's good that you're still seeing your friends regularly and that
That is the end of Part A.